welcome to the April edition of the corporate ESG 5 and 5 podcast, in which we spend 5 minutes exploring the key ESG trends set to shape the market this month and beyond. I'm Isabella Crack from NatWest's ESG advisory team, and I will be taking you through this month's key topic, the UK government's recently published Green Finance Strategy, highlighting some of the key takeaways. Firstly, what's driving the release of the latest strategy? On the 30th of March, the UK government published a long-awaited package of policy papers setting out the UK's path towards net zero and to deliver on its economic growth agenda. The suite of announcements represents the government's response to several factors: Chris Skidmore's net zero review published in January, the High Court ruling in 2022, which stipulated greater detail to be provided on the UK net zero strategy, and pressure to set out the UK's reaction to the USA's Inflation Reduction Act, as well as the EU's Green Deal Industrial Plan. Underpinning the announcements is the Green Finance Strategy. Under the headline, Mobilizing Green Investment, its objective is to align private sector financial flows with clean growth and strengthen the competitiveness of the UK financial sector. This 2023 update builds upon the 2019 strategy, which set out the UK's ambitions to become the global green finance hub, whilst also further emphasising the link to nature-positive outcomes and biodiversity. It consists of 3 chapters. 1, Foundations, which outlines the UK's approach to green finance. 2, Align, which covers enabling the market to align with UK climate and environmental goals. And 3, Invest, which sets out actions for mobilising and creating opportunities for green investment. Starting with foundations, one key update is the commissioning of the Transition Finance Market Review, which will consider what the UK financial and professional services ecosystem needs to do to become a leader in transition finance. This includes, for example, scaling transition-focused capital raising. Moving to the second chapter, Align, the UK government commits to support industry as it develops new market and regulatory frameworks, tools, and expertise to supercharge green finance activity. This includes a welcome development in the ESG rating space. The government has launched a consultation on regulating ESG ratings providers with the aim of improving transparency and good conduct in the ESG ratings market. However, little headway has been made in areas such as the long-anticipated green taxonomy, with the expectation that a further consultation later in the year will focus on this. The government has also committed to a consultation in Q3 to 4 of this year on the introduction of requirements for the UK's largest companies to disclose their transition plans on a comply or explain basis. This would align with the FCA's approach currently in place for listed companies, large asset owners, and managers. The third chapter, Invest, addresses the large-scale economic transformation required to meet the UK's climate and nature objectives. One key aspect of this is the nature markets framework for scaling up private investment in nature recovery and sustainable farming. The government has set a target to raise at least £500 million in private finance to support nature's recovery every year by 2027, before rising to more than £1 billion per year by 2030. For corporates specifically, another notable pledge is an additional £185 million for the Industrial Energy Transformation Fund, which will provide grant funding to support cutting energy bills and carbon emissions through energy efficiency and low carbon technology investments. So finally, what does this all mean in reality for the UK's net zero ambitions? The UK government did in fact admit that their policy package will only achieve 92% of the cuts required to reach their 2030 Paris Agreement commitments, which some experts have criticised as a generous reading. And what about support for corporates and industry? The UK has delayed several key announcements, such as subsidies, which leaves the UK's plan trailing behind the US and EU, both of whom have announced huge incentives for green technologies in recent months. Reaction from industry bodies has varied, with the FCA and UK CIF responding positively and welcoming the direction and clarity, whilst Positive Money and Share Action have expressed concerns that the steps outlined in the strategy aren't sufficiently ambitious. We'll be sure to update you once the outcomes of the consultations are announced. Thanks for listening to this month's Corporate ESG 5 and 5. I hope you found it useful. As always, please be sure to check out our monthly newsletter and LinkedIn content for more on the key ESG trends shaping the market. And if you liked this episode, please follow the channel and click the notification bell so you can get future episodes as soon as they are released. Thanks again.